Okay, today I'm going to show you how you're going to get started once you have your plan made for your stitched heart. Here you can see that I have decided what colors I'm going to use when I stitch. I'm going to do the back stitch for the letter A and the heart. I'm going to do the satin stitch for the circle or the half scallops, I guess you could say, around the heart. And then I'm going to do the running stitch here in a bigger shape around the heart. And I'm going to do the blanket stitch as the final. I forgot to circle the fact that I'm going to have red felt, and you can see I have green, which is its complement, and then only two other colors. I've included all three of the stitches that you need to have in my design, so now I'm ready to go. I will give you a piece of paper, and you will be cutting that into a heart, and then you will come to me and I will help you pin this pattern onto your felt. There are two pieces here for your front and your back, and you're going to want to cut this out with scissors. You're just going to go ahead and follow the pattern, and you will find if it doesn't cut very well, you want to try and make sure you're using the further back part of the scissors, like open the jaws of the scissors further and use the back as you cut. The pin should help keep the felt in its place as you cut. And you just want to take your time to do your best. Here I can fold the felt so that I can cut here. Continue my cutting as I go around. And now I'm all finished. These scraps, you can, if you have a big enough piece, bigger pieces, we can save them, otherwise they go into the garbage. Then you'll take out your pins, return them to the bucket of them by me, and then this you can do what you would like with. Now you have two of these, and oops, mine I didn't cut quite through the center. It was right on the fold, so I'm going to use my scissors to cut that apart. And then I'm going to just work with one right now, so this one can stay in my portfolio until the end. Now I'm going to work on the front. To help me do neater stitches, I'm going to draw my design on the felt itself. So I'm going to start with the heart, the inside heart. I'm not going to be pressing very hard, and this isn't going to show up completely. You don't need it to be super dark, but you just want to have a guideline for you. So this will be my heart. Inside there, I'm going to draw, or I will be sewing an A. And then I'm not going to fill this in, but I'm just going to draw the spaces that I plan to fill in with my satin stitch. This is a lot of satin stitch that I'm planning to do. You do not need to do this much. And then the last thing I have is my running stitch, and that's just going to be a larger heart that goes around my smaller heart. You do want to try your best to, when you do this one, that you're doing the dotted lines so that we don't see the black lines after you are finished sewing, because you don't sew the whole line, that will kind of show up. Okay, so now I am ready to start sewing. My running stitch is the blue line, so I've picked out some blue embroidery floss, and I need to first, of course, put the needle on. So I'm going to fold. You can fold it right over the needle. I'm going to pinch so I can hardly see it, and then I wiggle it onto the eye. Pull it through so I have a short tail and a long tail. And then the last thing I need to do is tie my knot. Remember to do a substantial knot. You wrap it around your finger and you create an X. Then you're going to kind of squish these together and roll it off, and it's going to make kind of a tangle. That's what you want. Once that tangle is all made, we'll see if this works. It came off. I'm going to squish this down, and there I have a pretty substantial knot near the end. Whenever you are sewing, you want to make sure you're starting at the back. So I'm going to start up here, and I hold this with my right hand because I'm left-handed, but I use my pointer and middle finger, and then I use my thumb and my ring finger. So they're kind of like pinchers. One is above where I'm sewing, one's going to be below where I'm sewing. So I'm going to push the needle through, and I want to pull it until, whoops, it kind of tangled. That might happen. You don't want to pull it tight. You want to try and get it undone without making the knot any worse. So I'm going to kind of loosen it up, and now I can pull and make sure it's snug on the back. You don't have to pull really hard. And then I'm going to make this a little bit longer because then I don't have to pull quite so far. Now I'm going to do my first stitch. I'm stabbing it, so I go from the front to the back. And now I'm going to come up from the back to the front. I did not do precision when I made my little dashes with my marker. So I'm going to try to do my best to even this out as I sew. I'm just going to continue throughout. It might take you a little bit to get used to figuring out where you are going, especially from the back, but it's pretty easy from the front. So I just continue this until I complete this all the way around. I should have enough yarn here to do this whole thing before I have to stop.